Hello world, my name is Lian Neil, a hard sci-fi author. My novella, The Cyto Trigger, is available on the Amazon bookstore, link below. Sorry for the 3 week hiatus. I didn't think there was much to say about Andrew Yang's campaign so far. It's going pretty well. However, today I want to talk to you about Andrew Yang's universal healthcare. And I got this inspiration from listening to Joe Rogan's podcast with Dan Crenshaw, and they talked about the healthcare problem in the United States. What Dan Crenshaw said really got me thinking. From a conservative point of view, what they had done is to pit the insurance company against the drug company, so they will compete with each other and allow the free market to work and use the insurance company to drive down the cost of the drug prices. However, what the problem is, the price is still extraordinarily high. Why is that? And that's a really good question. Well, let's look at the insurance company's perspective. So they obviously want to charge. They will charge as much as the customer can bear while trying to get as cheap of a. It's safe to say that people are willing to pay for a drug even if the prices are higher than what they can simply afford. Because if they die, what's the point of all the wealth that they have accumulated? Therefore, the conservative strategy of pitting the insurance company against the drug companies to achieve the most efficient or the best price or the best outcome falls apart because the market economy fails when the demand of the drug outstrip the supply. I mean, it's your life that we're talking about here. But let's assume for a minute that the insurance and the drug company aren't price gouging, or at least not price gouging as much as we like to think, since there are some drugs that are really expensive to make. And as a sci-fi author, I really did my homework and found that I found some drugs that are really expensive to develop since when you take into account that the FDA clinical trials are very labor intensive and cost a lot of money. I mean, in fact, in the order of hundreds of millions for a new drug. So with that said, how the hell did other countries pay like less than half of what Americans pay for drugs? And this also came up. This also came up in Joe's conversation, Joe's podcast with Dan Crenshaw. And what Dan said was that part of the reason why like Britain or the EU pays less because those countries don't necessarily adhere to the American patent laws, which means that the pharmaceutical companies in another country can produce generics at lower cost without paying or without giving a license fee to the makers, to the developers. That means basically American consumers are paying for the research and development of these innovative life-saving drugs, and other people are benefiting. But then, can you blame them? Obviously unfair, but we have lives on the line. When somebody can't afford these drugs, would you say no to a person that needs them? So it's a very difficult situation for everybody. But it's also unfair for Americans to foot the bill for inventing these new drugs. At the same time, and this also goes to inform you that collective bargaining under the universal healthcare system and importing drugs from another country might lower the drug prices, but at the same time, it might stifle innovation of new drugs. Give me a chance to convince you that it's actually okay to import other drugs even at the risk of stifling new drug development. Because under the current patent system, the drug patent system, it inherently creates a situation where the drug company can ransom a patient's life by withholding a life-saving drug. I mean, that's basically what it is. If you cannot afford that drug, well, you better cough up the money, or you have no alternatives, really. Then either move out of the country, or somehow do something illegal under the patent law, and only the patent law, because you are buying it, you are supporting another country stealing our patented drugs. So there must be a middle ground. At least we hope there must be a middle ground. Is there any way to incentivize the drug company to keep innovating while keeping the price in check? I think yes, there is a happy middle ground, and then one of them is to, I think this is my personal opinion, is that you need to incentivize the drug companies to stop patenting incremental improvements to drugs. I mean, that's basically how most drug companies extend the life of their patent. Okay, I'm gonna upgrade, I'm gonna attach a molecule somewhere else that will incrementally differ the chemistry of the drug, but at the same time, it works basically the same. And it's really a waste of money. I mean, if you stop issuing patents for a drug that has a minimal improvement, or like shorten the patent lifespan, that'll change the incentive structure. You'll incentivize drug companies to develop that drugs that are significantly different. Second is to stop incentivizing drug companies to produce painkillers, addictive drugs like oxycodone or fentanyl. And I mean, these are all really morphine-derived drugs that would just incremental improvement in addictiveness. While there are many other things that we could try to solve. Or then the most important part is to really invest in technology that would help us determine whether a drug or whether a formulation could or could not pass the clinical trials before it really even go through all the trials. And I know people are making this already through AI and data predictability of whether the outcome, whether a drug will get approval or not. This technology will allow the drug company to focus in the most efficient manner, right? You basically want to make sure that it will get passed before investing all this money for the clinical trials. There must be not only universal health care, but also revise the big part of our drug development cycles and policies in that way to move us away from this overpriced product. And yeah, so that's my rant. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you guys enjoy this podcast, and I hope to see you guys next time. That's all, world.